Ramadan Mubarak. Farhat Abi gave me a strict limit of 5 minutes for this brief reflection, which I probably won't be able to observe. Sorry, Farhat, but you may perhaps be inclined to forgive me for going over 5 minutes, because Farhat also gave me a list of 7 questions to address, which, if I simply read the 7 questions out loud to you, would take roughly 5 minutes. I'm teasing you, Abi. Thank you, Farhat, for thinking of me and for inviting me to participate in this series of Ramadan reflections. Every Ramadan, I experience a bit of what the Lutheran bishop and Harvard professor Krister Stendahl called holy envy. That is, while some Christians do fast during Lent, we do not experience the communal solidarity and consistent hospitality of Ramadan as Muslims practice it. So I envy the beauty of the Islamic communities supporting each other and inviting friends, strangers, and even enemies to your tables in hospitality during Ramadan. It was, in fact, at a big iftar at the Sheraton Hotel in Philadelphia to break the fast in 2006 that I first became aware of the Hizmet community. So I have Ramadan to credit for the multiple blessings that have come my way through my research on the life of Fethullah Gülen and the Hizmet community. I've said it many times in public, and I'll say it again. The lessons I have learned and the friends I have made along the way have changed my life for the better in dramatic and countless ways. I have deep gratitude for the places I have traveled, the people I've met of all ages, the conversations I've had, and yes, the meals I've shared, hundreds of them now, since that first iftar. So, thank you, Ramadan. One of the things that stood out to me about the Hizmet community as I grew to know it was the commitment to peace building across the movement. That's why in the biography of Fethullah Gülen that I wrote, I stressed his role as a peace builder. Each of the 5 chapters in the book documents how he contributed to growing what I call deep peace. Through the Hizmet movement, Gülen's commitment to these 5 things grow a deep reservoir of peace among people. First is a commitment to learning, both scientific and spiritual. Second is a commitment to the nonviolent practices at the heart of Islam, like observing Ramadan. Third is a commitment to engaged empathy, that is, to recognize suffering and being willing to work to alleviate that suffering insofar as possible. Fourth is a commitment to principled pluralism, to knowing who you are as a principled person, and because you know who you are, therefore being willing to dialogue and work with any others on projects of mutual benefit. And fifth is a commitment to a mode or model of organizing akin to social enterprise, or in Islamic terms, a commitment to istishara, to mutual consultation, deliberation, and consensus buildings. Individuals living in accord with these 5 commitments, these 5 seeds of deep peace, will be strong citizens wherever they live, in any season. Following the tragic events in Turkey since 2016, actually back much before then as I document, I've observed a rapid advance of what was already true in my research for the biography. Hizmet is truly now a global movement, and I find that remarkable. Out of the ashes of the disinformation, corruption, and violence in Turkey, a phoenix continues to rise in sites all over the world, carrying the vision of Fethullah Gülen for a more just and peaceful world, where ignorance is overcome by education and knowledge, where poverty is overcome by generating wealth for the common good, and where disunity and violence is overcome by dialogue, goodwill, and solidarity and sisterhood and brotherhood with all humanity, with the earth, and through trust in God. We live in an era of so-called strongmen who try to impose a narrow understanding of religion upon diverse cultures and to exploit the symbols, if not the substance of faith, for economic, nationalist, and political gain. And yet a central lesson of Ramadan, I believe, is the lessons of patience. Patience is a virtue shared across religious traditions, and patience is an alternative to the grasping of greed, the short-sighted exploitation of resources and people that we see so much of around us these days. Everything is speed up and worry, speed up and worry. No wonder we live with fear and anxiety. Patience takes things slowly but surely. Patience grants dignity to others and seeks their well-being along with one's own. Patience, as the Arabic word sabr in the Quran, is discussed often by Fethullah Gülen. About sabr, on one occasion, he writes that sabr literally means enduring, bearing, and resisting pain, suffering, and difficulty, and dealing calmly with problems. In more general terms, it means patience, which is one of the most important actions of the heart mentioned in the Quran. Because of its importance, patience is regarded as half of one's religious life. The other half is thankfulness. End quote. I love that. If half of our prayers say thank you and the other half say strengthen my patience, we'll go through life in peace, grateful for what we have, hopeful but not grasping for the future. In this era of so-called strongmen, we need the kind of patience of the heart cultivated through nonviolent practices like those of Ramadan, which offers a peace so deep that no regime can threaten it. Here's a lesson we can learn. Patience is power. Nobody can stop Ramadan. Ramadan reveals the patient power of peace. So what I hope for us all during this season of fasting and feasting is access to those sources of deep peace that our traditions cultivate in us. May these words of the beloved late Hoj Effendi, that I quote in my biography of him, come true to some degree in your Ramadan this year. And I quote, "The month of Ramadan appears on our horizons with its charming beauties, with fasting, the prayers of Taraweeh, the fast-breaking dinners, and the pre-dawn meals. Ramadan brings about a heavenly atmosphere of its own. Even at times when different tensions follow one another, when violence and aggression becomes excessive, when contradiction is seen as virtue, and when ice-cold winds blow between the masses, Ramadan makes its influence by reconditioning souls, fostering sound hearts, feelings, and thoughts, along with abating every kind of hardness and harshness. We thus show serious respect toward this month when peace and gentleness perceptibly prevail. For this reason, in spite of different adversities, if we give our willpower its due and manage to open our heart to this very special and distinguished segment of time with heartfelt trust, then it will cuddle us and shower us with blessings. Anger, violence, and rages will cease, and an atmosphere of peace and reconciliation will prevail." End quote. That's why I experience a little holy envy during Ramadan. Even as a Christian, I have been cuddled by Ramadan, and I have been showered with many blessings by it. May it be so for you this year. May Ramadan cuddle you and bring you many blessings.